I'm going to talk about two different things. First of all, the issue came up on last couple of rides that we almost got lost out in the desert. We backtracking down the same trails that we used to get out to the middle of nowhere weren't that obvious coming back. And so we decided that there was a couple of things we need to do. One is we now have a Garmin 680T. It has the tracking, the trails, everything. It leaves a dotted line. We call it a track line wherever you go, so you can find your way back. You can put in waypoints where you want to go using the device itself, or you can use the free Garmin Basecamp software that's on your computer, Mac or Windows. And you can use that to create a point where you want to go, and it'll sync it with this, and then you can go that way. And it just hit start, and off you go. The other thing I'm going to talk about in a minute is this, which I just received a few days ago. And this is a way of, when you run into trouble, this is a satellite GPS system with, I call it panic buttons, but if you get in trouble, you can press one of these buttons to either tell your family you're okay, or to come and help me, or seriously just to go call 911 and send help. And that's all just using this system. So it has its own built-in GPS tracking as well. This is for emergency primarily, but although you can send messages, just let your family know that you're just doing fine. And this is for navigation. So let me first talk about the Spot Gen 3. So you have a few buttons on here. Actually, there's 5 buttons, 3 across the bottom, and 2 are hidden underneath these little doors. And we'll start with the most innocuous one. First of all, to turn on tracking, and it'll track you, it'll plot you on course wherever you go, anywhere in the world. Every 5 minutes it'll put a waypoint down. And to do that with this little, looks like a footprint, you press and hold that until you see the light go green. Okay, now it is tracking. And it's saving your track points. The next thing I'll point out is this OK button. Now this is simply, you can create both email and text messages just by pressing that and sending those to people that, like your family or friends or someone you want to know that you're doing fine. Don't worry, you're out in the boonies on your bike and everything's just going great. So all you would simply do is press and hold this OK button, and you'll see it will flash here green, and it's sending out a message now to say I'm fine. And you can create your own message you want. It's limited to, I forget how many characters, like maybe it's 200 characters or something. So mine says, it's Gord, everything's fine, no worries, talk to you soon, or whatever. So that already, by pressing that, has gone to my wife, and I actually had sent to my phone so I can show you what it looks like, or a neighbor or a friend, that sort of thing. So it's just a message to say, I'm doing fine, no worries. That starts and stops your tracking. This is a custom message one. You can create another, I don't know what you'd use that for. Create a different message to send to somebody. You've just heard my phone ding, and I'll show you what happened. So I just received a message on my phone, and this is the same message that my wife would receive, or whoever else who's on my list. And if you look here, it says, Gord here, all is well. If you need to know where I am, see the email you just received and click on the link. So it'll also send an email with the link to both a Google Map link and to a satellite link. And this is your lat and long, so you know exactly where you are if you need to get help. So your family or friends or whatever can know where you are. You can directly send that to Facebook if you want, but I wouldn't do that, but whatever. And there's also an email that was sent, and they'll have an email there with a link, and it'll come up with a link to a GPS lat and long coordinates. So if you're in trouble, this is what you do. If you're in trouble, now if you're just saying an okay to let family know you're fine, you press this button here, and this is I need help button, and you can set up the message again, and this message would say, as mine does, for example, it says, this is Gord, I need help, can you call 911 and give them my location and send help, something like that. And then there's people on the list that you've set up, and these can be different lists depending on these buttons. You can set up more or less, whatever. The SOS button here, that calls the authorities. It bypasses like family and friends and so on, but this literally goes like to 911 or search and rescue and that sort of thing. So you don't want to press that one unless it's serious crises. However, if you do press it, and you decide, oh, I didn't want to do that, you can press it and hold it, and it'll flash red, and that means you've turned it off. So that's how this works. It works all by itself. It just sits there. It comes with batteries. A built-in battery pack is included with it, or you can use 4. I think they're AAA batteries. You can put in your own lithium batteries if you want. Or thirdly, you can use a wired-in connection, which I've done, and I've connected that to my bike. So this one's wired in. The next thing is the GPS thing. So hopefully never have to use this.
App that goes with the
and it's not a bad idea to press the OK button.
If you check on the App Store or in the Google Play Store, there's an app called Spot. And it's Spot app. There's one called Spot Connect, and that is not the correct one. You want Spot app. So if I open it up, that's showing exactly where my GPS was, the little orange thing on the bike. You can zoom back. You can look at this in standard or in satellite mode. Also, of course, this works on Android as well. Makes no difference. And when I pressed that button to send a message to my wife that I'm okay. And she also received an email message. And if I show you the email message, see this one here? That was generated by pressing that OK button on the Spot, and it's saying, "Gord here, all is well. If you need to know where I am, see the email link you just received," which is what I'm looking at, and click on the link. So there's 2 different links you'll notice. There's this link here to see where I'm located, and it says if this doesn't work, click on this one, which is a Google Maps link. So let's click on the first one first. And this will show you anywhere in the world where you are. It'll zoom right in on the Spot. And this is using the from the company, the Find Me Spot app. And there it is. And you can zoom in if you want. And there's your lat and long. You can zoom in the bottom right hand corner. You can zoom in, that sort of thing. But let's go back. That was the first link. And I'll move in there. You can see that's where you need to send help, if you need to use it to send help. Alternatively, if I go back into that email message again, the second link is a Google Maps link. And this also shows exactly where you are using satellite or streets. Sorry, there it is. Let's go with satellite. Same thing. There's your lat and long. Okay, so they can send help. And so that's how the app works. So whoever you're sending a message to will have the ability to track you down on a map and send help. Or just to know that you're okay.
Navigation system. And this is the Garmin 680T. The T means topography, so all the maps and the altitudes and heights and trails, everything is in here. It also works as a GPS for driving around town if you want to. Built-in camera, and what makes that cool is it's not like a regular camera, although it's high definition, 8 megapixels. If you use this camera and take a picture, it saves a lat and long where that picture was taken and plots that like a waypoint on the chart or on the map. Sorry, I'm a boater, so you said chart. But anyway, so it will navigate, it'll show you the trails. It has all the trails. I mean, trails based on satellite that you would not ever be able to download or see on a map or a book anywhere. They do show up on this thing, and it's incredible detail, which is fantastic. So this is your main screen. You can customize it however you want. This opens up the map. This is my trip, my current trip log thing with the speed and so on. That's where do I want to go. This is my go home button. Wherever I am, trail, mountain, middle of nowhere, or street, I press that and it'll take me straight home. This is for starting a track. So I've started a track now, and this is for stopping a track. In other words, I'm starting to head off and do my trail. I usually start this the moment I leave the house. And this is my track manager, shows all the tracks that I've gone on and saved. That starts the camera, and again, I can take the camera off here. I could take a picture, and it will save that waypoint with the picture you take at the spot I'm at, which is fantastic. So if you get to a curve in a trail, and it's kind of a pivotal curve or corner or whatever fork to remember, just take a picture of it, and it's automatically saved, and you can navigate back to it if you want. As far as navigating goes, this would create, if I press that button, it would create a waypoint for me right in the spot I am. This is my waypoint manager. If I decide, and see these are pictures that I've placed at those different places. If I wanted to go to Apache Spring, which is an old, it's where the Apache Indian War was held, and this is where there's an old cavalry outpost still. It's still there today. I can put it on, select it, view it on the map, and if I hit go, it will start taking me to that point. So the map will pop up, and it'll be, there you go. It's coming up. So anyway, that's the Garmin 980. Sorry, the Garmin 680T, and it has its own batteries as well. You can buy a kit that wires it into your battery if you want. I'm not using that. Just very briefly though, let me show you what I've done for safety on this bike, because we do go out in the middle of nowhere and getting back is always a concern, or getting in trouble. Let me come down here for just a moment. This is wired to my battery. I used to have one of the little a different USB adapter. This one has an on-off switch, and I have found that this will kill my battery. Not this one, but the regular ones will kill my battery if I'm not careful. So I'm really happy with this one with the on-off, and I'll put that back up there. In my back of my case here, I have my battery tender. That's right, the battery tender USB plug is awful, and it kills my battery constantly. It doesn't have an on-off. I'm not sure what's wrong with it, but I would not choose that. This is my battery booster, my battery tender. What you can't do with it is connect this battery tender to your line that goes from here to your battery, because there is a 7.5 amp fuse between here and the battery, and this will blow it. So you do have to take your seat off, use the booster or the battery connectors to boost your battery. Key. Running out of battery in the middle of nowhere is awful. Sometimes you can't push start it, which is why we bought this. If it's soft sand and you're in a gully or something, you're not always able to push start your bike. I also carry in there a hat, of course. I carry a 22 Ruger, just in case I run into any critters out there, snake or javelinas or cougar, whatever you want. It feels good to have that with you. I have a tow rope if I need it. Essentials, necessary gloves, bungee cord if I know to carry something. On this side I carry clear glasses inside here, a pressure gauge, a very sharp knife, and in this bag here I have all my adapters for like phones and things. But I also carry in here one of these little battery things that you charge up, and it will charge up your phone. Just like a portable little battery pack. I keep that on board as well, because running out of power in the middle of nowhere is very likely. I should also mention too that the battery tender that I just showed you, the battery backup tender, this thing, it has a USB port on it as well, which has a lot more juice, of course, than that little stick. And on this side I keep my tools. I also have a tire pump here. In here I have a tire repair kit. And that's the whole thing. So this is purely for safety things. If something goes wrong, if something really goes wrong, I have an emergency way to call for help. Assuming my engine's still running and I can get out. And this, I'll use the GPS then to get back to where I came from. And that pretty much covers it.